Hello, everybody. Welcome to Jumping in an Elevator, the podcast where I full stop. Today we're doing an advice, confessions, and rants episode. And we have a special guest, Millie Ford. I'll introduce Millie in a second. I just want to give a special hello to Savannah. Thank you for being one of my top tier patrons. And Savannah, my wish for you today is that you're cleaning your lenses. That can be interpreted in many different ways. You can either say, like, lenses on your glasses. These are actually dirty. I don't know if you can tell, the ones that I'm wearing right now. And also camera lenses. You know, if you're a camera user, you need to clean that lens. Dust is real. We don't talk about it enough as a society. Dust is real. Heartbreak emoji, send message. So as I said, we've got a special guest, Millie Ford. Her TikTok username is milligram96. As of recording this intro, I think Millie's at like 970,000 followers on TikTok. So you better sort your shit and go follow. You could be the millionth follower. How exciting for you. The type of content that Millie posts on TikTok, here are some key words that are just coming to my mind. I would say Australian, comedy, queen, legend, slay, girl boss. Absolutely. And she posts those kind of role-playing videos where she's referencing memories that so many people would have. Like funny things such as, I think my favorite one of hers is pretending to be the teacher that comes into the classroom while you're having a test. It's the kind of thing that you forget about, and then someone makes a video about it, and you're like, I experienced that. That's a key memory for me. Core memories, actually. And a lot of it, you know, if you're Australian, you'd probably get almost all of them. And if you're not Australian, you probably get most of them anyway, because we all have shared experiences. No one has had an original experience. Who do you think you are? Picasso. Even if you thought you were Picasso, Picasso has shared experiences with us, so deal with it. Just wanted to put this out there before I start the actual podcast episode. This episode took so long to edit because we had some issues with the audio. It's not Millie's fault at all. It was my recording software being an absolute clown. There were so many technical issues. So the first, I would say, 30 minutes of the discussions that we have, the audio might just like change volume levels a little bit. I tried to minimize it as much as possible, just sorry about that in advance. But then the last half an hour, it's pretty much fine because I don't even know what happened. My computer decided maybe I will play by the rules. So apologies for that. And thanks, Millie, for being such a good sport with me dealing with all these stupid technical problems. All right, without further ado, hope you enjoy the episode and keep slaying. Alrighty, we have a special guest with us. Everybody say hi, Millie. Millie, how are you?
Hi, how are you going, Mike? MicsMike.
Actually, this is a perfect way to start. Even though I didn't give you this prompt before, rate your day so far out of 10. Go.
Okay, my day so far it's been probably, I would say, an 8.
Oh, a HD.
And I know that I'm starting pretty strong. I know, 8 is good, but the reason is I feel like my mood started really well today. Like I was fully dancing in the kitchen. I was just enjoying my life. I was just living life, you know? So, and then we've had a great chat. So
exactly.
I just feel like I'm on top of the world. I feel like 8 is good. I wouldn't say I'm like 9 or 10. It hasn't been the perfect day, but mood levels, 8 for sure. How about you?
I would say it's been tumultuous. We had several webcam issues before this, which dropped at a few points, but I think there's a pigeon in my roof. This is so random, but there's like a pigeon in my roof, and I live in an apartment building. So I'm like, how is there a pigeon between 2 floors? But that like kept cooing this morning, and I was like, what is this? So I woke up crusty, and then my click and collect was available early, and then I got a really good coffee, so that bumped it up. So I reckon I'm at like a 6.5. But then with this call, I'm an 8.
Oh, that's pretty good.
For those of you that don't know, Millie is the queen and CEO of Australian TikTok. Do you have thoughts on that statement?
Look, I'm going to take it. I'm going to claim it because I don't know how long that status is going to last. I feel CEO of TikTok is quite, it's bold, but I will take it. I'm going to take it for now. I probably personally wouldn't refer to myself as CEO of TikTok / queen of TikTok because, I mean, there are some people that I also look up to as CEOs. Well, I think you said Australian TikTok, right?
Yes.
Not just general TikTok. Okay. Look, can we just call me that for today? I'll take
it
for
sure.
today, and then we can We can call me something else later.
It's a temporary title, and then maybe you'll have to move into a different role in the executive team, in the C-suite, maybe like a CFO. Actually, I would like to be the CMO of Australian TikTok. Don't know how I'm going to get there. I think I need 900,000 more followers so I can get up to your level. Which, by the way, everyone listening, by the time this comes out, Millie's going to be super close to getting to 1 million. So make sure you go and follow. You might be the millionth follower, which will be super exciting.
Oh my gosh, maybe I should do whoever's my millionth follower gets a something.
Gets a car. Buy them a car.
Buy them a car. That is an incentive, guys.
Yeah. Millie will buy you a BMW and also a Tesla, and you can choose between the two. Before Millie joined, I asked her to prepare her 3 favourite songs. Now, I think this is a good litmus test because the listeners on my podcast know the kind of shit that I listen to. So it'd be interesting to hear what your 3 favourite songs are. Go.
Okay, so this is a really interesting question because I am the kind of person who listens to 2 to 3 songs on repeat for a month without stopping. Like, that is me to a T. You know, you hear about those people, that's me.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is I will find these songs in the most random of places. Like, often it's my Spotify radio that comes on. So but then sometimes they're also very popular songs. So there's no rhyme or reason, and I'm scared of the judgment of those listening right now because it is very random.
Okay.
But I don't even know if you guys are if you're gonna know this song, but I am an absolute 80s fiend, 70s, 80s fiend. I love my
I thought you said ATEEZ, which is like a K-pop group. ATEEZ. I nearly fell off my chair, but continue.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to disappoint. No, I'm talking about the era. But I love my old music. I dance to it all day.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just discovered another one, which it's not that it's like new, but it's basically my go-to song at the moment. And it is called You Make Me Feel Like Dancing by Leo Sayer. And I'm not going to sing it for you all, but it's this really fun...
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to sing it. I'm not going to sing it. I was almost about to break out. And it's just a really nice... It's the kind of song that I would use if I had a movie to myself.
Okay.
It would be my opening intro song.
Okay.
Basically. So that's the kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But I listen to a lot of that retro music. So that kind of ticks the box. And then I was like, I'm going to choose a TikTok song as well that's going to tick my box today.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that I've been listening to, I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it. I'm going to butcher this name, but it's called Love Nuan Titi by CK. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a fabulous song. It's just really boppy. It's just fun. And it's just this really fun, gorgeous song at the moment. And then number 3, I had to throw this in here, and it's going to, I think, come out later on in the podcast.
Mm.
But I had to throw in Wildest Dreams, Taylor's version. I know.
Stop.
I'm obsessed with it all over again. I know. I'm all over again. I'm obsessed.
Are you a 1989 girl or a red girl?
Oh my gosh, 1989. I knew this was going to come out. I'm 1989 through and through. Like, it is hands down the most superior era for me. Iconic. Like, every song I love. It's no skips.
And you know what? That is just so important and crucial because Taylor is like doing promo for Red Taylor's version, which is coming out in November. And then out of nowhere, she drops Wildest Dreams, Taylor's version. And I collapsed. I had to go to the hospital because I fell on the street when it came out because she just dropped it. And I was like, Taylor, you're so messy. But I love it.
I love it. That literally happened to me. I was like, where is this coming from? And I just had flashbacks to the concert. And
Did you see her in concert?
So that's definitely my new... I did. I went to 1999. It was amazing. I know.
Oh my gosh.
I was crying. Like, it was the best thing ever.
I think it's time for us to get into the crux of this podcast episode, which is advice, confessions, and rant topics. Now, I posted on my Instagram story with the 3 prompts for those, and Millie, we got about 1,000 responses, 1,500 responses. There were so many. So I just kind of like went through and like screenshotted like random ones. So we've got a bunch. I don't know if we'll get through them all. But for the listeners, if your question isn't in this time, the plan is that I'll do one of these every 10 episodes. So you can just try again next time. But we're going to cover a lot of topics here. And we're going to start off with a really fun one. And this one is, what Met Gala themes would you like to see? And I'm going to riff off this and say it's a double question. And the second question is, what would you love to wear to the Met Gala?
Oh my gosh. Okay, I actually thought about this. And you know what? I'm very random with my opinion on this. And I feel like this would be a really, really weird theme. But I would love to see a retro, postmodern, Andy Warhol kind of eclectic vibe. I know that sounds weird, like Art Deco vibe. I would love to see what people would do with that. I feel like it would be very modern. It would just be this cool, like, retro twist rather than, I don't know, I feel like you can still make it classy. But
100%.
I love that style of decor. So I think I would love to see that translated into fashion.
And what would you wear?
I feel like I would wear, I've got a few things that come, like, I mean, I don't know exactly. I feel like I would do, there's a few things that come to mind. I would do some kind of like, okay, let me just actually think about this, because I feel like I'm not going to voice this, and I don't want to say like too much. I say like a lot. What is coming to mind is a lot of glass and a lot of like a glass kind of pieces. I know it's kind of weird and random, but it's almost like this transparent like bodysuit vibe.
Made of glass?
With a lot of color blocking. Like how cool would that be? That would be awesome.
That'd be
and
really
then
cool.
The color blocking as well. Just really sleek. I'm also seeing like a lot of 60s chunky. Yeah, these are just keywords that are coming to mind. But I haven't actually
like the chunky jewelry.
Yeah, I'm so
and
sorry.
like chunky necklace.
Chunky jewelry. Chunky with with cool sunnies as well.
I'm there. I'm visualizing.
Eventually.
What about the hair?
It would be sick. Oh, the hair. You know what? I probably have to do like a cute little 60s. Oh, you know what? Emma Chamberlain Met Gala this year inspired.
Actually, her dress would be good for this theme that you're saying.
It would. Something like that would be so cool. And I would love to see how people would take that to the next level. That would just inspire me. Yeah. I think that I just was a little bit bored this year. And I think that there needed to be more colour, more excitement. I think people could do a lot with it.
I would say my answer to this question would be, I want to see, because I love the themes that are a little bit like ridiculous. Like the one they did about religion, when everyone turned up in those crazy gowns and like headpieces and stuff like that. That was really cool. I want to see a theme for space, like just the concept of space. I think that'd be super cool. I would love to see what Grimes would wear to something like that.
Yes.
And
there is so much you can do with that as
right?
well.
There's so many things you could do, and so many like references that you could pull from, you know, like pop culture and all that kind of thing. But I would wear, have you ever seen the movie Tron?
No, I haven't.
It's like the movie where it's like a futuristic type thing, and they ride these motorcycles called what are they called? Like light bikes or something. And the bikes are black with orange and blue lights, and the suits that they wear are like these black suits with like blue neon down the sides or orange neons down the sides with like a black helmet. That's what I would turn up in. I'd turn up in like a black and neon blue LED suit.
That would be sick. I love that, and I think that there'd be a lot of Princess Leia inspired Star Wars looks as well.
All right, we're going from Met Gala to an explosive question here. Why are grapes the only fruit that are called a different name when they are dried? Brackets, raisins. Thoughts?
My thoughts on this, I have a lot of thoughts on the English language. I think a lot of words weren't thought out properly.
Elaborate.
I think that this is okay, so I actually made a story about this the other day. Some words haven't been conjugated properly, essentially. I feel like when you say something like the word blinked, it doesn't sound right. It should be blunk.
Yeah, no, I can get around that, 100%.
So that kind of vibe. And there's a lot of other ones I could go into. But I do feel like they got lazy when they were creating the language. This is my personal opinion. And I know that a lot of the words are derived from, you know, Latin words.
Right.
But I would never have thought of this as raisins, this grape one because I just didn't. My mind didn't even go there.
What would you call them then?
There's no Well, could you put a G in front of it?
Graisins.
Graisins. Like, I'm sorry, there's no consistency.
Yeah, true.
There's no rhyme or reason. I don't enjoy that. What about you? What do you think?
See, I actually love the concept of renaming it to a raisin in a sense that it feels like a completely different thing. So you can sell grapes and raisins as two completely separate entities. So I think it was a ploy by Big Grape to sell more grapes. Like in a sense that you can buy grapes or you can pay more for raisins. Whereas if you buy like bananas and banana chips, they're like the price difference isn't that much of a big deal. But I think between grapes and raisins, because we kind of view them as two separate things. Like when I buy a raisin, I don't think, oh, I love dried grape. Like it's a raisin.
That's actually a really good point.
So then like if I'm buying like dried apple, also, it's an apple.
That's such a good point. But off that then, might be a dumb question, but you've got raisins and then you've got sultanas.
Are they the same?
What's the difference?
I want to say they're the same.
Now, and I'm stressed. Okay, because I'm like, I've always called them, growing up, I always called them sultanas.
Same.
And then as we got older, and it's like hot cross buns with raisins in them. And I'm like,
oh my God, wait, now I'm stressed.
A sultana?
Here we go with another one. I don't have a crush, but I want to have a crush. What do I do? Now, I'm going to take the lead on this one because I have a fantastic answer for this. So this person's saying they don't have a crush, but they want a crush. And I would say go to the best cafe in your area because there's going to be a hot barista. Or there's always hot people at a cafe. Am I wrong?
Oh my gosh, completely agree. Another classic, can I just throw it in? Dog park is also a good one.
If you're an animal lover, actually on the money there, because if you go to the dog park and there's someone hot there with a dog and you have a dog, boom, you're basically married.
Exactly. And I always feel like I don't actually have a dog. I wish I had a dog because it gives me an excuse to go to the dog park. But you can just accidentally let go of your dog. You know, they can run over, start conversation. I feel like it's almost easier to start a conversation at a dog park. You've got lots to talk about as pet owners.
So true.
It's quite, you've got to create those experiences for yourself sometimes.
Okay, here's a good one. This is for you. How did Millie get her brain so big and juicy to remember all these core memory TikToks?
I actually get asked this question a lot. How do you remember this stuff? And I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know how I remember stuff. It's like anybody else's brain. How do we remember things? Why do we remember some things? Why not? I personally think it comes down to me being possibly more observant without even realizing it, like subconsciously observant and picking up on mannerisms and that kind of thing. But I don't have an actual answer as to why these random memories are sitting in my brain, because it's almost like when they get unlocked for me, like when you say memory unlocked, it's also been unlocked for me. And I have this moment where I think that happened, didn't it? Did it happen to anyone else? And it's often a risk to post. I never know if that was just me, but TikTok
has that happened?
That so much stuff. As in, has sometimes it not been a hit and no one can relate?
Like someone's like, I've never experienced this, or this never happened to me.
Definitely. Sometimes it's funny how the majority of people will probably relate, but I do get the odd comment being like, oh, this literally never happened to me. I had a completely different experience, and that kind of thing, which I kind of like to read anyway, because it's just good to get different opinions. But honestly, guys, I don't know why I remember all of this stuff.
Next question. I'm excited to hear your answer to this one. What would you do during the purge?
Okay. So my thing is, I'm not into, any violence. There's nothing like that going to be going
Disclaimer.
on. I don't feel the need to murder anybody.
Good to know.
I won't be murdering anybody that I hate. I did think about this, and I think for me, it's got to be the one day that you've got to be a little bit selfish. And what can you get? What can you gain from this personal game? So for me, I thought work smarter, not harder. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be, before the day comes, if that's possible, if we get notice, I'm going to be researching some of the most expensive houses on the Australian coastline.
Yeah.
And I'm basically going to find out who owns the houses. And then I'm going to forge paperwork that says that they've actually handed over their house to me. So
how are you going to pull this off on Purge Day? Because all the lawyers and shit are going to be like, lady, I don't believe this.
It's going to happen. I've decided it's going to happen, and I will find a way. But basically, at the end of the 24 hours, I will own all these properties around Australia. And there's nothing that they can do to get them back because they're mine. They're mine now. So I basically will be set up for life. And meanwhile, everyone's looting in the streets, and I'm like, nah, see ya. It might
let me go back to one of my 10 houses.
Like paperwork. I'm going around getting properties. That's my strategy. I don't know.
Okay.
Work smarter, not harder is my thing. What do you think you'll do?
Okay, well, I think there's like several things that I would love to steal because, you know, there's a lot of clothes that I really like, but I can't afford them, or like it would be ridiculous to buy that many all at once, or things are just closed because of lockdown. Yep. So I would hit up Collins Street in Melbourne, which has like, you know, your Prada, your Louis Vuitton, your Gucci, all the girls. But I think there would be a lot of people there as well. So I would kind of like prepare in my mind what I'm stealing, go in, quick, get like one item per store, and then keep those, but don't like, not for me, for resale later on, black market vibes.
Okay.
Then I would love to do some cybercrime. Somehow, I think.
Can you go into detail?
Sure. So I would love to do like a little bit of like banking fraud in terms of working out how to get into rich people's bank accounts and then transferring the money to another rich person so it looks like they stole it. And then they go down for it. Just to start drama, you know, that's content. I love drama. It's like, just imagine if Elon Musk got hacked and all his money got sent to Jeff Bezos' offshore account. Like, society would collapse and they'd be so excellent.
Wait, so you're saying that you don't actually want the money, but you're just starting online drama?
Yes. Like, I think it'd be very exciting for everyone for, like, just have a little bit of drama with the big wigs of the world. I think that would just kind of make everyone's day. So I'm basically Robin Hood if you think about it. All right, next one, kind of related to law breaking. When do you think it's okay to break the law or cheat on a test?
Oh, this is a good question. I'm all about people taking the moral alignment test. Have you ever taken it?
Is this the chaotic good one?
Yes.
Yeah. I think I got chaotic good.
I'm also chaotic good. And so I feel like
twins.
this lines up perfectly with this question in the sense that, you know, it's not that we will be breaking the law, but if we feel like it's for the good of the people, if my heart is saying this is for the good of the people, then sometimes, if no one's getting hurt, obviously, sometimes I feel like it can be okay, as in... And I'm not trying to say I'm doing things out here that are illegal, but I'm just saying that if something came up and no one would get hurt, if it might be slightly, like a little bit illegal, but it's for the good of the people, I would say it's okay to do it. That's where I sit on the moral alignment test. This is interesting.
I'm calling the police. You're over. You're done for. Your career's over.
My door again.
Oh my god, yes. Can we talk about that?
My door again. What do you want to know? Do you want to know the full story or what happened?
How about give the people the Spark Notes version?
Okay, let's do it. So, basically, hanging out in my house, in my tracksuit, hear a knock at the door, open the door, there are two cops there standing. Like, I'm just like, oh, what's going on? I don't know. What? Someone died. What's going on? They said, are you Millie? I said, I am Millie. Like, okay, well, we've actually received a call saying that you were filming a TikTok outside. And look, I didn't even think twice. I was like, I didn't do it. I swear I didn't. I swear I didn't do whatever you said I did. Yeah. They're like, we'll just have to get some ID from you. I was like, okay, of course. Sure. Went to get some ID. And then I said, wait, I'm so confused, like genuinely though, because I film all my TikToks inside. I don't
Yeah.
know what you're talking about, genuinely. And I just would like to know a bit more information. When did this happen? They said yesterday. It's like, okay, I literally don't know what. So it was very confusing. I was starting to panic. I was like, my heart was just, what have I done? This is my career is over. My public image, it's going to make the Daily Mail kind of vibe.
Not the Daily Mail.
It did, but I'll get to that. Yeah, exactly. It did in the end, but for another reason.
Okay.
And so I was getting quite flustered and I was like, I swear I didn't. I started crying, like bawling my eyes out. And then I said, I can show you, I can prove it to you. How do I prove it to you that I wasn't making, like, I didn't post any TikToks. I post all of my TikToks, in my house.
Yeah.
And then I opened up my TikTok and they're like, can we just have a little look? And like, actually, can you just show us what you posted in the last 24 hours? And I'm like, racking my brain, like, what did I post? Oh dear. And then the first video, of course, it had to be me doing a stupid trend in my teacher costume. It was the one that's like, put on your cute ass outfit
and the walking one.
Tell me you don't feel like a bad bitch. Yeah. And then it's like, and let me see you walk.
Yeah.
And I was doing a slow motion walk in my teacher character. And they were like, okay, that's enough. We don't need to see anymore. And I was just like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. I was crying, by the way, at my front door, holding my phone out. It was just such a chaotic scene. They let me go. Yeah. I didn't get it reported or anything. They just said, apparently they have to just follow up on every report they get. But
it's giving villain origin story.
Visit.
Also, like, so what was the offense? So is it because of lockdown? It must have been because of lockdown.
Yeah, because of lockdown, I don't even know now what the offense was, because a lot of people stated you can still film outside, technically. Yeah. People can take videos of anything outside. I think it's something to do with people, loitering. If I was hanging around outside, not wearing a mask and filming or something, you're kind of loitering. You're not, you're not doing exercise but also recreational activities are allowed. So it would have fallen into that. It also would have fallen into work. So someone was just bored, clearly, or they thought they saw me and had a for me. And then I posted on my social media, and then the Daily Mail did end up reporting on it.
Oh my god. Okay, also, we do kind of love that, because then that will help you get verified on Instagram.
I've heard about this. Is it 13 articles that you need?
13?
Or a specific number, apparently.
I'm never getting verified if it's 13. My god. They asked for 3.
Oh, okay. That's fine. I heard that you have to have a specific number.
Oh my god.
I haven't even applied yet. You've had what, like 7 attempts?
Oh no, I've had 11 attempts.
What?
No, there's like this whole thing that like...
Are you joking?
I'm like... I love to say that because... I remember when Gabby Hanna was saying this and everyone was making fun of her for saying like blacklisted. So I've like kind of adopted this like thing that I'm blacklisted from being verified on any social media. So that's like part of my personality now, that I'm blacklisted. So, all right, next one. I don't like my best friend's boyfriend. What do I do?
Oh gosh. Okay. This is interesting. I think it's funny because I've definitely had friends who I haven't liked their partner. I'm not going to lie. And not necessarily current, but I think it's really interesting because we often get really good gut feelings about people, and especially people that our close friends and family is associated with. Like, there's always this niggling feeling that you get about someone, whether it's good or bad. And if you really don't like them, the boyfriend, I don't feel like you necessarily need to bring it up and have this whole thing. But if something comes up, if your friend comes to you with a complaint, with a problem, I do feel like they've come to you for advice. You can definitely incorporate it into a chat with them and just say, hey, for these reasons, I've noticed you felt this way this many times. I really don't like how he's been treating you. It makes me really sad to watch.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's open up the conversation. That's genuinely what I would do. And And I don't think, if they're really happy, sometimes you don't know the full story of the relationship, so you can't make that judgment and just go in and be a homewrecker and be like, bye, like, I don't like him. Yeah. I just think wait for that conversation to happen organically and then peep in. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I think that's solid advice. I would kind of say the same thing. And then also part of me is like, just tell her. Be like, your boyfriend's a fucking asshole and I can't stand him. And then they'll be like, but why, babes? And you can give them the reason. And then if it's because of some misunderstanding, then maybe you can get sorted out. I'm a big fan of like just bringing things out into the open. How to get out of a slump / stop feeling bleh. My answer for this would be I usually like to either go for a really long walk or do a workout or just not expect myself to do anything. Like kind of, lower the expectation. Whenever there's like an advice episode, I always say lower your expectations as the answer for so many things, because I think it applies to so many things. But I would say lower your expectations and then make small achievable goals that you'll feel good when you do them, and then just kind of build up from there. But what would you say?
I absolutely love that. And mine's kind of similar in the sense that for me, whenever I'm in a slump, it's always stemmed from, it's obviously mood related. It's obviously the thoughts that I'm having in my brain. I know that there's a lot of negative self-talk associated with that. So I have to snap out of it. I'm like, snap out of it. Get a grip, Millie. Like, what are you thinking? Why are you thinking these negative things? And so what I do is I like to put on a fun song, and I like to just pump some music. It has to be boppy. It seriously will change your life. Put on a boppy song. Have a little dance. Remember who you are.
Remember who you are.
Remember who you are. Like, literally just remember me being like, get up. Sorry, who are you? You should not be in a slump. You can do this. And then my other thing would be agreeing with you is lowering expectations. Literally, often for me, when I'm in a slump, it's because I'm really overwhelmed with how much I have to do, and so I'd rather just not do anything. Mm-hmm. So what I do is I will pick one task that I need to get done, absolute must get done today, and I make sure I do that task, and doesn't matter what else happens for the rest of the day, as long as I've done that task, I've achieved it. And often after I've done that one task, I want to do another task, and you
it's just like that starting
pride because you completed it. Yeah, it's starting is the hard bit. Just make sure if it's cleaning your room, for example, just be like, I'll do 5 minutes of cleaning my room, and then you'll be on a roll. Honestly, half an hour later, you'll be like, hang on, I'm doing this. So just start.
And suddenly you're cleaning the entire house, and then suddenly you're cleaning the car, and you're cleaning the neighbor's car, and you're making money off that. Next thing you know, you've started a business, and you're a millionaire.
And
something
you're a girl
to consider.
Boss. Yeah.
Exactly. You know what? I think society would be so much better if everyone just had the girl boss mentality. Like, honestly, people just need to get it together and just all be girl boss. Like, it's not that difficult. Girl boss is a mentality. All right, let's do any movies or TV shows, like suggestions that you have. For me, I'm watching this show called Squid Game. It is so good. I went to bed at 4 a.m. last night because I was watching Squid Game, because I just could not stop because it was so good. Because it's...
what is it?
Okay, so you know the concept of like a battle royale? So like Hunger Games, where they have to eliminate each other. Yeah. So there's a Japanese show called Alice in Borderlands, which is similar to Squid Game. The concept is like these people are playing games against each other, and if you want to stay alive, you have to win the game. And that kind of thing. And then this one, Squid Game, is a Korean show. Similar kind of concept. But it's all people who have like massive debts that they can't repay, and their life is shit because they have all these people wanting their money back. So they get the opportunity to like play these games to win money, but they don't realize that if you die, like if you lose, you die. But the winners get so much money. So I would say Squid Game.
I would say right now I don't have too many recommendations, although I do really want to watch. Oh gosh, what's it called? I want to watch Why Women Kill.
Is that the one with Lucy Liu?
Yes, that's the one. I've heard amazing things. It's on Apple TV. Okay. I really want to try that. And I just got a free 3 months for Apple TV because of my laptop.
Oh, right, yes.
So I'll be watching that. And I love a good thriller movie. Like, I'm all about the thriller.
Yeah.
Anything dark comedy, drama. In terms of series, gosh, I'm really not the best person to ask for TV shows. I've watched all of the classic teeny bopper shows that we all used to be obsessed with, but I feel like I don't have
We
a really
need to
good.
talk about Pretty Little Liars.
We do. I feel like that was coming out eventually. Like, Pretty
Somehow
Little
we were going to
Lies.
weave it in, and that time is now. All right,
Not me
so
subtly plugging that I used to watch a teen show and waiting for you to bring it up.
yeah, no, I mean it was bound to happen anyway. So we had like a back and forth on Instagram a couple of weeks ago about how ridiculous Pretty Little Liars was. Now, I've covered Pretty Little Liars a few times on my channel, but I'm so far from done talking about it just because there's so much ridiculous shit. I called my friend the other day because I was like, do you remember when Spencer got fucking locked in the shower and nearly died because it got too steamy?
I actually, honestly, I know we spoke about this the other day, but that YouTube video of yours, I was rolling on the floor. I had a stitch. I was crying of laughter because how on earth did these concepts fly? How,
Right.
Marlene, what was she thinking? Like, how did we just watch that? So I would have been like 14 years old, and I was just like, oh my gosh, the drama.
Yeah.
That is craziness. And I even said to you, there was one episode where they're all in this doll's house and they all have separate rooms and beds and there's props. And I'm like, I think Mona might have been like the person in charge. And I'm like, where is this budget? Like, where you're spending your pocket money on destroying these girls' lives by installing cameras and microphones and an overhead speaker. Are you kidding? This is not real life.
It's like, Mona, babe, just get a job. Like, is it that serious? Like, you must have a job already if you're doing all this shit. But, like, don't you have some stuff that you could be spending your money on? Like, come on.
She must have been one traumatized girl from the, like, what did they do? Like, honestly, I don't stand for bullying at all. But what did they do? They were bullying her for being a nerd.
They didn't do enough. But also, like, Mona was one of my favorite characters just because of how ridiculous she was. I feel like the writing for the character got better. So in a sense, Mona was one of the best characters. But, I mean, just the sheer amount of ridiculous shit. Even, like, the injuries. The deaths and the injuries. Like, I just know that, like, Rosewood Hospital was going through it.
It was Shauna falling off the stage and dying for me.
When she fell like 30 centimeters off the stage and like, well, it's over. After like she was literally pointing a gun at someone and then she falls off the stage and dies. Like, seriously. It's embarrassing, Shauna.
It's so good. But in saying that, I would recommend it. Maybe that's my recommendation. It's
and
a
you know
great
what?
Laugh.
It is a great laugh, and it is like it's a fun show. Like it's a good show to watch. I would say like people who haven't watched Pretty Little Liars are missing like it's a cultural black hole. If you're missing that, I would say Pretty Little Liars, Vampire Diaries, and then more recently Scream Queens. Have you seen Scream Queens?
Oh, I watched a couple of episodes, but I didn't end up finishing that one. Which in true Millie form.
There's like, I think when it came out, it was popular because it had like Ariana Grande and Emma Roberts and stuff. But now it's kind of having like a renaissance on TikTok and YouTube in terms of like memes and like reaction memes.
And that sound that going around, the Chanel, these are my like Chanel number 5 or whatever. That's the only quote I've seen. But
there's a bunch of them. There's that one. Then there's like the scene where Ariana's character gets killed. So you haven't seen that?
I've seen a couple of episodes, but I haven't seen it. But that's okay. I won't be watching it, so you can spoil if you want to. Okay,
it's like the killer comes into her room and like texts her and it's like, I'm gonna kill you now, and she's like looking at the killer and she's like, no, like please stop, and the character's like, I'm gonna do it anyway, and then like the killer stabs her and she's like falls onto the floor, but then her laptop's there and she like wakes up and she's like writing a status. She's like, guys, the killer is in my room. He's gonna kill me. It's so sad. And she's like putting sad faces. And then like she dies because he stabs her in the back. When she could have just like said SOS, killer right now, enter. It's just so ridiculous. I love it so much.
But is it kind of like, I could be completely wrong, but it's taking the piss, right? Like, it's completely supposed to be satire. I couldn't remember if it's dark humor, isn't it?
It's dark humor. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, yeah. I literally I couldn't remember because there was that one, and I swear there was another show that was similar to that, which wasn't dark humor, but it was just like shit comedy. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I
think there was, especially around that time, there was like a bunch of similar kind of shows. But I think I'm due for a Scream Queens rewatch. I think it's on, I want to say Disney Plus. It's on one of them because Disney owns everything. So I think it would be on Scream Queens, but I'll let you know because I think you should watch it as well. You could get some good content from that.
Okay, I need to give it a crack, actually. Like, I don't know why I stopped. I think I was just like, oh, this is extra. Probably at the time I was thinking, what is this show? But when you look back, it's so funny to think about. So maybe I'll go. Yeah, absolutely.
And then the last one that I want to recommend is I finished Superstore. Have you ever watched Superstore?
Oh my gosh, I started watching that with America
Ferrera.
That's the chick. Yeah.
I love that show. I finished it and like I loved The Office, but this is better in my opinion.
Okay. I was just about to say I loved Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Is it the same vibes?
From what I've seen of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because I haven't watched the whole thing, but yes, from what I've seen, it's similar kind of vibes.
Okay, cool.
But also, I think you would really enjoy it because it plays into like a bunch of those kind of stereotypical retail and like supermarket like worker things that you can play off on TikTok.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I'll get some inspo while I'm watching.
Yeah, but it's like also there's a bit of dark humor in it. And like, for example, my favorite running thing in the show is that they keep finding feet in the store, like severed feet.
Ew.
Yeah, but it's like, it's a show that's like so heavily based in reality that just like all of a sudden they find a foot and it's like, oh, sorry, what? But yeah, I would highly recommend that. So
okay,
that's my
I'm going to give those two shows a crack. Thank you so much for the suggestions. I need
no
that.
worries. Okay, this was the final advice one. Should I get long bangs? For context, I'm hot and I have long hair.
Ooh, I love this.
What are your thoughts?
This is giving a lot. I agree. I think go for the long bangs. I'm all about people trying new things with their hair because it grows back. So why not try it out? And also, sometimes I feel like I'm very safe with my hair, so I love encouraging other people to try things out. In place of me, I say, can you do it for me? Yeah. Long bangs is actually
do it for Millie.
Do it for Millie. I think definitely do it because also long bangs is quite a safe first option, and then you can cut them shorter if you need to.
True.
It's nice to frame your face. It's very, I don't know, I feel like it's very on trend at the moment as well, 100%. And they will grow out.
Is there any like hairstyle that you are thinking of doing, but like you haven't fully committed to it yet?
Look, I love the 90s Jennifer Aniston hair. I'm not gonna lie. Okay.
What's that?
Absolutely. It's kind of like the long bangs she's talking about, but I would say it's a little bit more frame. Maybe shorter at the front, but she's kind of got lots of layers.
Oh, okay.
And it kind of frames her face like this. My hair's very straight up and down. Very not interesting, but what I would do is I would get my layers a little bit shorter here, and you can see there's a little bit more volume around here. Very 90s. That would be my go-to. Also very Shania Twain vibes as well.
Have you ever dyed your hair?
I actually do. So it is currently dyed at the moment, except it's a balayage, so it's grown out pretty naturally. But the most bold thing I've done, and it's not even that bold, is I went brown at the end of last year, semi-permanently, because you know, we don't want to commit too much right now. But it was okay. It wasn't my favorite look of mine.
Also, like wigs. When's your wigs era?
Oh my gosh, you know what? I have a couple of wigs sitting in my bedroom that I haven't touched yet.
Whip them out.
Because I know, but I'm terrified to use them because I was thinking for my skits they'd be great
Exactly.
to diversify my characters. But
And to like
I
branch out the
just
characters, you could have so many different
yeah,
characters in the one scene. Oh, Hollywood.
absolutely. Oh, honestly, and I think maybe when I include a couple more characters that maybe are very similar. If I'm doing two old ladies, right? I don't want to have
Yeah,
the same hair. I'll do one in a week, one night in a week.
exactly.
I haven't quite got there yet, but they're in my room, so stay tuned.
Okay, everyone, get excited for that. I love it when like content creators get to the point that they're using wigs for their skits. I think that is like it's a telltale sign that they've made it, or like they're like
Oh,
really into it.
it's such a milestone as well because it makes you realize this person doesn't care anymore. They are past
Mm,
caring. They are
yeah,
willing to try anything.
yeah,
And I'm just not there yet. Not because I'm scared, not because I mean it is a little, terrifying putting that stuff on the internet, but I mean I've put a lot of weird stuff out there. So I mean
yeah. I was gonna say, you're saying
Bronwyn, for
that to
example.
me. The shit that
Yeah.
I've put on the internet, I painted myself as Mike Wazowski. And that was before I quit my job in corporate. Like, I was like fully like a full-time software engineer by day. And then at
Oh
night, I
my
was fucking
God.
painting myself as Mike Wazowski. And like some people that I worked with followed my YouTube channel. And like I would turn up to a meeting the next day and they'd be like, did you, like, what was that? And I was like, I don't know, it just felt right.
I love it. I love that this is like that is the true you coming out, and now it's like this is your full-time job. It's like where you're meant to be right now.
Yeah,
I
I'm
feel
meant to be
like
Mike Wazowski.
my like comparison to that is me being the art teacher, Bronwyn. I felt
Mm,
bold posting that because I was really self-conscious about looking really gross and being close to the camera and having
right.
my full-blown face and mouth up to the camera. I thought that's too much for people. I'm so sorry, but I had to post it. I just had to.
You had to get it done. And
Um,
it resonated, right?
it resonated. Everyone was like, "This is my art teacher."
Yeah.
So I will get there with the weeks. I just need to find the right character for it to
So
debut.
true. Okay, I'm excited to see where you go with that. Um, all right, now we're going to go to the confessions
Oh my
segment.
gosh.
Um, let's start with a juicy one. Okay, so this is unrelated to confessions, but in the confessions one, someone just wrote smoothie. And I was like,
Wait, that's a confession or what?
yeah, no, it was in the confessions box. Someone just wrote
Okay.
smoothie, question mark. So maybe they're saying that like they're in their
Mysterious.
smoothie era. I don't know. I mean, live your truth, I would say. Like a banana coconut
Confess,
smoothie.
confess what your favorite flavor is. Oh,
So
getting
true.
very juicy.
So, I mean, how do you go from that to this? My dad randomly goes on hikes, and I know he's just sleeping with our neighbor. He's 53, she's 23. What in the wisteria lane? Like, this cannot be
What?
real.
Really? I actually forget that this stuff goes on. I know that
Right?
sounds really
No, I
like
know what
I'm
you
in my own
mean.
bubble, but like this is happening, and the fact that you know that your dad is doing that,
Yeah. I'm just
I
like, I don't see this happening in real life. I'm just like, oh, it's just a TV show thing. But I'm like, TV
yes,
shows are somewhat rooted in reality, so I guess it is happening.
I completely agree. I'm like, no, that in itself could be a Pretty Little Lies episode. I mean, it literally happened. Aria and her dad.
This is literally Arya and her. Stop.
Someone's been watching too much PLL.
What was the girlfriend's name? Meredith.
Meredith.
Oh, fucking Meredith. And then like what was her deal? She was an absolute bitch, right?
She was the teaching aide, and
She
or
drugged
like,
Arya.
yeah.
Oh my god.
And then Ali saw the kiss and like held it over Aria as well as blackmail.
Oh, because that's what good friends do.
Such a good bestie, yeah. Honestly, someone's definitely just watched the Pretty Little Lies episode and whipped that out. Like
Yeah.
hikes.
Hikes. Like, why hikes? Like, come up with something else. I love this one. I chucked a piece of my door into the street because my anxiety convinced me it was a bomb. Now, when I read this, I was like, they made that up. But then, upon reflection, I was like, sometimes I kind of get in my head about shit like that as
Oh my
well.
god.
Like, I convinced myself that there was a camera in my fire alarm.
Oh,
And then, because I watched this Netflix documentary called, oh my God, what was it called? Like Classified or something like that. And it was about spy techniques. And they were talking about how there are so many different ways to hide cameras in a room or in a hotel room.
Oh my gosh, that's freaked me out now.
Literally. And they're like going through the room and they were like showing where you could have one. They're like the smoke detector, a two-way mirror, in the TV, in the ceiling. You can have like 2mm cameras inside holes in the ceiling. So then I was like looking at the little fire thing and I was like, why is it built like that? Like, it looks weird.
It's so funny because I freak out about the two-way mirror thing, but with the throwing the door out. So I swear I have an irrational fear of spontaneous combustion. Like, I will look at something and be like, for example, the heater was on the other day and I was like, that's about to blow up. I can just feel it. It didn't, but
okay.
I just get weird vibes about things blowing up. For example, my kettle, I have this weird fear that my kettle is just going to blow up and like hot water is going to blow all over me. I genuinely have this fear. It is very intense. So
has it happened before?
That's the vibe. Never happened.
Oh,
Actually, I will say one time, this was not the same thing, but when I was back at home one time, we were making toasted cheese sandwiches, you know, on those French press things.
Yeah.
And the cord got stuck in the French press without us realizing, and it sparked, and it was like bang, and I was like, ah! And it wasn't me making it; it was someone else. But I remember that whole thing, and ever since then, I feel like I've been traumatized about things blowing up. It's weird.
Right.
Like electricals.
That is justified. I had this, I don't even know where it came from. Actually, I sort of know where it came from. There's like this story from my old apartment building when my mum stayed over one time. Because I don't have a toaster. This is like, this takes so many fucking tangents in this story. Long story short, I don't have a toaster. I don't agree with the concept of a toaster. Just put it in the oven. So then my mum was defrosting rolls in the oven. And she forgot about them, and they lit on fire. So then there's like a fire in my oven. And then she opened it, and the flames like licked up the wall. It was a whole thing.
Oh my gosh.
But then now, not because of that, but that kind of contributed to it, but I always check every single appliance in the house before I go to bed to check that it's off.
What?
And like the stove and the oven, I check like multiple times. But it's like, I have not turned this on in 3 days.
Oh,
but I can't go to sleep unless I check.
That is weird that we have this weird fear of appliances, like, together. We're both discovering this.
Yeah.
Because I completely understand that. That would be scary. Like, microwaves scare me. I hate
microwaves are scary. We don't talk about microwaves enough. The fact that shit just is there and it gets warm so quickly because of waves. Like, I know how it works because I studied that, but we as a society just accept that too freely.
I know, and it's just like you're putting something inside this heating machine, and you know what freaks me out? At the end of it, when it's been in there for too long and your microwave says cool, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's gonna overheat because it needs to cool down. Like, that freaks me out. Why does it need to cool down? Like, we shouldn't be putting things in microwaves that need to cool down. Like, and so I freak out about microwaves exploding too. I just have a weird feeling that my microwave is going to explode. I don't know. So I kind of, we've digressed from the initial bomb in the door. But I understand getting so in your head about something that gives you anxiety that you feel like you cannot escape this thought.
Right, exactly. Let's go with... This is a good one. I tell a lot of people that they're my best friend and it's a lie. Now, I tweeted something a couple of months ago and I stand by it. It's like, if everyone's bestie, then no one's bestie. Thoughts?
Oh my gosh. So I have a love-hate relationship with the word bestie because I'm not going to lie. I use the word bestie for strangers all the time when I don't know what to call them. If I don't want to say their name, but I want to give them a term of endearment.
Bestie.
And I'm like, I swap between lovely or queen. Bestie is just good for everybody. So you just say bestie when you're just not sure. And then one time, one of my actual best friends saw that someone posted me in a story saying, "Love you, bestie."
Yeah.
And she replied, and I restoried it, and she replied, and she's just like, what do you mean? Like, am I not your bestie?
Like, that's not your bestie. I'm your bestie.
Literally, she's like, how dare you?
I also think, like, the concept of besties and, like, ranking friends is so messed up. But it's, like, such a human thing to do. Be like, see, this is a friend, but this is a best friend, and you can only have one of those. It's like, you can have multiple best friends, people. Like,
It's so
I think,
true.
yeah. That's one of the good things about saying bestie. It's that, like, if everyone's bestie, then no one's better than anyone else. But the people that are besties know.
It is so weird, the ranking thing. Like, you guys are all my friends, but this is my best friend. Like, she is better than all of you because she's she's the best at being my friend, by the way. And you guys all have to listen to that.
You need to step it up.
When people go out of their way to say, "Oh yeah, she's my best friend," it's like, oh, okay, sorry. Like, like that role's taken. You know, sorry.
Like, pressure's on.
The pressure's on.
It's like in MySpace, how they used to have that thing where you could, like, put your top friends and everyone could see it. Or on Snapchat, do you remember when they showed the top friends? That was fucking messy.
That was amazing. I was so angry when they got rid of that because you could see who everyone was Snapchatting.
Yeah,
good times.
Like, there's a lot of tea in there, especially, like, that was peak. I think it was end of high school, start of uni when that was kind of blowing up. So
that was amazing. Ultimately, I think you can have multiple best friends, but just don't throw the word out there too much, guys.
So true. I picked up a $5,000 Van Cleef gold necklace on the street and I'm keeping it. This is kind of tying into what we were saying before about the purge. So I'm not going on record saying I support this, but I'm saying nothing.
I'm just going to say, without saying anything, I feel like, where would you actually take the bracelet if you didn't, like, if you found it and you found it on the street, where, and I'm not saying anything, but I am saying, where exactly are you supposed to take it?
And, like,
because
the police are busy. Like, you're basically doing a public service by keeping it.
Absolutely. Like, what are they going to do? Post, are they going to really post about that on their social media saying we found this bracelet?
Exactly. And, like, that's just so much more work for them and they have so many things to do. So, like, you're just doing the right thing.
You're doing the right thing, taking it off the street so no one trips on it, you know, make sure that you give it a good home if you're gonna pick it up.
Exactly.
That would be my thoughts.
I'm so glad we're on the same page. Now, I put, like, a prompt on the stories for like this thing where we give a topic and then you have to rant about it for like 30 seconds or whatever. And this is not a new thing. Like, people do this on podcasts all the time. I just love the concept. So I'm going to start with this one because I have so many thoughts. This one is talking about how the girlies are constantly sleeping on Ava Max and it's sick and twisted. All right, so this is the start of my rant. Ava Max is Madonna Part 3 or Lady Gaga Part 2. It has been said that Lady Gaga is Madonna Part 2. And while I agree in some parts, I think that Lady Gaga is an amazing artist in her own right. I'm saying Ava Max is kind of the next Lady Gaga, and people need to get over themselves and stream Ava Max's discography. Not only does she have an iconic haircut, every pop star needs an iconic haircut. Hello, I have a red mullet for a reason. But then, like, her music is constantly charting highly in Europe, but then in America and Australia, just sleeping, constant sleeping. It's weird. Like, everyone needs to get a job and get on Spotify and stream Ava Max. That's all I have to say.
Oh my gosh. Am I supposed to rant now too?
I can give you a different topic to rant about.
I will get another topic, but just on that, I think I was traumatized when she rhymed psycho with psycho.
No, because she is the lyricist of a generation. Like, she has the lyric that's like, a king can only move one space at a time, but a queen is free to move wherever she likes, like referring to chess. Okay. And I was like, no, because that's literally Shakespeare. Like, she outsold Shakespeare. Shakespeare copied her and went back in time to write whatever shit he wrote because she outsold everything he's ever written. All right, your rant topic, I would say, is how are they coming up with new music? It should all be used up.
Oh my, I am so glad I got this one because I was almost about to message you earlier and being like, this is a thought that I have daily. Whenever I'm in my room and I'm humming something, I think, oh, that's probably a song already. Like, surely that's a song. Where
Yeah.
they can't make new music. Like, how can you make new music? Every possible chord progression, every melody has been done before. So, like, and then there's copyright. So, you can't obviously take people's music. So how does it work? Do we just like forget music existed? Is it just this cycle of 100 years where every 100 years there's a similar song that comes out and you're like, oh, that's right, I forgot that existed, and it replaces it? Because surely you can't have new music. It's all been thought of.
Well, okay, I thought a bit about this because I'm famously writing some music at the moment for my Mike's tape.
Oh my
Dropping
gosh,
the
that's so
Mike's
exciting.
tape at 500,000 subscribers, everyone. Um, but I was thinking about how with sampling, like that's like a proper and actual thing that people in the music industry sample and all that kind of stuff. But if I just like sit down and I try and make a song on like some kind of software, I I can't get out of my head that someone has to have made this. Like, how can
Yes.
someone not have made this before? Like, there's only so many notes.
That's exactly what I'm like. Someone surely, someone somewhere in another country has
Yeah.
had this exact same melody in their head, but then they keep dropping bangers, and then you're like, well, I mean, have I heard this before? I haven't.
It's
Who,
just so.
who is making this stuff?
Who is making? It's like it's a conspiracy theory. I'm telling you.
It is. We're brainwashed.
That kind of follows on to this one. There are way too many locks in the world and not enough key variations. So, from my perspective, like an engineering perspective, with locks and that kind of stuff, I love locks. The concept of locks, obsessed. I went through a lock picking phase. I've had so many phases.
Did you?
Yeah, I
Can you
love
pick a lock?
not like any lock, but I know how to
Okay.
pick a lock, or like I know
That's a,
what
oh
techniques
my gosh.
people
That's a
use to pick
skill.
locks. I need to actually work on that. It's a good point. Thanks for bringing that up. But I would say, like, if you think about a key and how there's like all the ridges and that kind of thing, there are only so many variations. Or with like a safe, there are only so many variations. If there's like, just say there's 30 numbers, like 0 to 30, for 3 things on a safe, that's like 30 times 30 times 30,
30 times 30.
which is a lot, but not that much.
Yeah, that's true. So is the question that there's too many locks and not enough keys?
There's like only so many variations for keys.
Oh,
So like if you have a key to a lock, how many locks around the world can you unlock?
oh my gosh, I see what you mean. Yes, you're so right. That is actually such a good point. What, and also, okay, question. This is so random, but is there an approval process for keys to be like, this hasn't been used before?
Right? It's like, if that is a thing, I want access to the registry of the keys.
Literally, because if I think about the keys that I got to my house, how do you know that the person, 2 streets away or even on the other side of Sydney doesn't have the same key as me?
Exactly.
Like, is
So
it
it's
a
like,
geographical thing?
I don't know. It's like, I kind of want to get my key and go to every house in my neighborhood and just like unlock the front door and be like, I'm in. Because there's a chance that that is a thing that happens.
Surely. There
Right.
has to be. And also, on that, we just blindly trust them. We just blindly trust that the key is like safe and no one else has it. Who knows? If all
Exactly.
of the neighbors in the apartment block might have the same key as you. We don't ask them.
And like, when I get the keys, like when I moved into this place and they gave me the keys, I was just thinking, how do I know that the previous tenant didn't just copy the keys and kept the key?
Oh my gosh. No,
Like I
this
could
is
go and
freaking me
I could
out.
go and do that and they wouldn't know. Or like when you get keys copied, how do you know the locksmith isn't keeping another key for themselves? Like maybe there's
Oh
some
my
kind of like
gosh.
kleptomaniac and they're just keeping all the keys to go into people's houses later.
They actually could be also, they might have a system in place where, they copy the key and then they assign it to different houses. Like, did they get obsessed with this stuff? They must.
Sure,
they're a
there has
locksmith.
to be some kind of registry.
It's gotta be. Like,
The locks
this
and
is
keys registry.
I'm finding this out straight after this because I need to know.
But like, also, I know I'm going to forget about it the second that we stop doing it. Oh, okay, great.
Actually, maybe it wasn't that interesting.
Okay, this one. How the fuck does time even work? Like, it makes zero sense. I've done podcast episodes about time before and the concept and everything like that. It's just fucked.
I agree. I struggle. Like, imagine if we didn't have time, and what would say that the second now isn't the same as like the one that I just had? Like, I would just be existing, right? There wouldn't be any units of measurement. It would just be life, right?
We should measure time in vibes. You're so right.
In vibes. But then I also think, okay, someone clearly was like, I need to meet up with you. How are we going to decide the moment of time or the moment of life that we're going to meet up, right? And they're like, well, we kind of need a system.
Yeah.
So I think of it as more of a general guide, personally.
Yeah. I mean, every sense of measurement that we have is just a way of humans to understand the world, right? Like,
absolutely. It's a man-made construct.
Yeah. Time is like how long it takes for some really specific scientific thing to happen. Like, the measurement of a meter is based on a scientific constant as well. So it's like they pick these things and base them on things that don't change. So it makes sense.
Yes.
But like, everything's made up. Like, the concept of time, minutes, hours, and all that, it's just made up. Like, the concept, we made up the concept of time. Like, it's based on something, but our interpretation of it is just an interpretation.
It is. I find it weird as well that someone decided that a minute was 60 seconds. 60 seconds was, how do you even describe a second? It's long. Like, you can't describe.
Well, there's there's a scientific thing for it. There's like the time it takes for some molecule to do something. I remember like.
Okay, yeah. I did not know that. That's really interesting because I'm just like, who's just decided that? Who decided that? It's unfair. I always question. I love a bit of critical thinking. Who was in charge of things and why? Exactly. I like to know why things were made that way, because sometimes you think, was there a better way for this? But at the time, that was what was the best possible. That's all that's the best decision they made with the information that they knew. Yeah,
it's like when the calendar, like our calendar, is based on Julius Caesar wanting to take one of the days out because February was scary and there was like a scary day in February. So like, let's take the extra day out of February. It's just like, shit. Everything's ridiculous.
And the fact that day still exists, but it's now labeled March 1st.
Like, it's just like, come off it. Like,
also, you know what I find weird just on the concept of time? I find it weird how we all just like go into our little houses at like, we retreat to our houses at night and we like all sleep at the same time. Like, we've all decided that we're going to go and sleep. I was awake in bed. I'm like, it's weird that everyone's in bed right now, sleeping, like recharging our batteries. We're all kind of like, and obviously, you've got overnight workers and that, but I'm just like, isn't it weird? Like, I was like, I feel like I'm wasting the day. Like, sleeping.
And like, when I have those kinds of realizations, I'm like, this feels cringe. Like, this feels like a cringe thing for me to be asleep while everyone else is asleep. It's like embarrassing.
Yeah. It's like such an ick to find out that you sleep. Like,
yes. Or like when you find out like how your body is skin, or like how skin is just everywhere and you can't escape the skin. It's like, that's embarrassing.
Oh.
I'm embarrassed.
I would find out, it would be such an ick if I found out that someone I was interested in like slept. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of
it's like, ew, my crush has skin. Ew, that's so gross. Imagine sleeping. Oh. That's so good. All right, let's do one more. You can pick. You can either talk about people who play Candy Crush, or you can rant about your DMs.
Okay, well, I'm going to do DMs. I'm going to rant about my DMs. So, I have this weird... Oh, gosh. My DMs are full of 18-year-old boys. And I don't understand. I'm 25, by by
Oh, my God, same.
Oh, my gosh, twins. I just don't understand why that's my, like, target demo. All these 18-year-old boys will be like, I have a crush on you. Or
Oh my God.
they'll send me their pickup lines, and I'm like,
What are they expecting?
I'm like literally I have 96 in my name, so clearly I'm a 96 baby, and I'm
Yeah.
like, why am I really popular within their like 18-year-old group chats? Like, why me? So that's my DM problem. I'm just like, don't not about it. But also another thing, I don't know what you feel about this, but it's hard for like when people in influencers are like, oh my gosh, like I have so many DMs about this, I cannot read all of them, or like I cannot get back to all of them. I actually didn't realize how often people reply to stories, because I'm not a big story replier for people that I don't know.
Yeah.
So I actually do read most messages, but I struggle. So I have a bit of like a priority system
Okay.
in my DMs, and it's not an exclusive one, but I just feel like my DMs are definitely mostly people replying to my stories. You probably have a similar thing.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna say, if you're gonna slide in with something strong, funny, not just a ha 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 ha, because I'm probably not going to reply, but I'll read it. But slide in with something strong. Go in for the kill. Catch attention. I think that's a really good strategy to have. And that would probably be my whole DMs box is just people replying to stories and 18-year-olds.
The thing that you said about like come with something good. There was like a message that I got the other day, and what was it? Okay, so this girl had messaged me. She was like, "Hey bestie, I told one of my friends that we were cousins because we're both we have Croatian heritage and we both live in Australia. So can you follow me back so it doesn't look suspicious?" And I was like, "That's fucking funny." And like,
did you do it?
No, I forgot to, but I need to find the message because I want to follow her back. So I was like, "That's funny," and like I support this. But like
that is gold.
I've turned off DMs on TikTok, Twitter. So the only place that I can get DMs is Instagram. Like, do you have TikTok DMs on?
I actually do, but mine are not working at the moment, so I only receive DMs from people I'm friends with.
Okay, yeah, so I have that as well. But like I don't follow very many people, so I don't have that many like actual DMs in there. But then I just found that when I had them public on Twitter and TikTok, it was just like insane vibes. Like people just doing the most. I like just have a thing that I will not click a link if someone sends me a link, just because you never know. That's like
you never know.
Long story short, one of my friends from my old job had a stalker, and then we were trying to work out who the stalker was, and then I found out that you can send a link that has a tracker in it to work out the IP address of where they're clicking the link from. So I was like, if I can just make one of these for free, then surely there's people that are doing that to me. So that's why I don't click links ever in DMs.
Okay, you are so... I need to be more aware of this stuff, but thank you for bringing it to my attention.
That's a hot tip. Never click links in DMs. But yeah, I would say like mostly story replies, and definitely like when I started kind of getting bigger on the internet, it became more of a thing. But these days I would say like I do read a lot of the messages. I genuinely do not have time to reply to them all. It's not like I'm like, ew, I don't want to talk to anyone. It's just like I physically don't have enough time to reply to everyone. But it's nice that people take the time to reply. So
yeah, I agree. Like it is crazy how you realize, unless I've got like a massive, really inspirational message that I'm like, I really, really want to reply to that for personal, I'm like, that's a special message.
Yeah,
I agree. Like it actually is so time consuming. It's so easy to quickly read them, and I love getting them, and I smile at every single message.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's just nice that people are watching and they're like, you probably won't see this, but I just wanted to say it. Like, that's really lovely.
It's like, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, speaking of thanks for taking the time, I reckon it's a good time for us to end the podcast. I know I've distracted you from your day long enough, but thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I hope you had fun.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. This was so good. I just love talking about random stuff. So this is perfect.
Right, it's so good.
Anytime.
And where can the people find you?
You can find me on TikTok. Mainly it's my main Instagram. It's my main social media. Milligram96. And then also same Milligram96 on Instagram as well. And also YouTube coming soon. Stay tuned.
Do you know what the username's going to be for YouTube?
It'll probably just be my name, so Millie Ford.
Okay.
If you're interested.
Cool.
But that's kind of where I'm sitting at the moment.
You heard Millie. Make sure you check her out on TikTok. Get to that million so you can win the BMW/Tesla, your choice. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, we'll have to have you on the podcast another time if you want to come on. So
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And definitely sounds like a plan.